Welcome to the Logan Library of Learning. The following presentation will equip you with a better understanding of primary and secondary sanitation options available for swimming pools in the marketplace. While we certainly will be highlighting the fine products from custom molded products, we will do our best to give you the overall features and benefits of the technologies discussed. Please don't hesitate to research these technologies further, as there are a tremendous wealth of excellent resources available. Thank you and enjoy.
Supplementary and alternative sanitizers represent one of the fastest growing segments of the swimming pool industry, being one of the key technologies that are enabling custom molded products and Del Ozone to lead the way in providing the most modern method of water sanitation for the 21st century swimming pool. The Logan Library of Learning YouTube channel is proud to present this video that explains fundamentals of advanced oxidation process, a chemical reaction that is generally referred to by its acronym, AOP. But before we discuss AOP, we need to make sure we understand the various elements of water sanitation and how they fit together to create a safe and pleasant swimming environment for bathers. If we were inventing a new water sanitizer, what conditions would it need to be able to satisfy in order for us to definitively consider the water in question to be sanitized and therefore safe for swimming? Well, first it would need to be able to create a residual, some quantitative measurement by which it could be determined through some sort of testing that the water does indeed meet whatever standard is determined in order to call it safe. Next, our sanitizer would need to qualify as a biocide, something that kills living organisms and pathogens like bacteria, viruses, and algae. And last but certainly not least, our sanitizer would need to be an oxidizer, something that can transform or destroy organic and inorganic compounds, things that are typically introduced into the water by bathers, like body oil, makeup, perspiration, suntan lotion, and of course, the ever-present urine. It does so by converting them to their base elements, thereby enabling our combined chlorine to once again become free, available chlorine. If we can make our sanitizer successfully meet all three of these requirements, then we can actually make the claim that we can use our new product as a water sanitizer. Fortunately for us, we don't have to invent such a product because there currently is, and for many decades there has been, a chemical called chlorine that can successfully perform all three of the required elements of a water sanitizer. Most certainly chlorine leaves a residual, and for residential swimming pools, this standard has long been established as being between 1 and 5 parts per million of free available chlorine as the required measurement of safety. Likewise, chlorine most definitely is certified by the National Sanitation Foundation as meeting the requirements of NSF ANSI Standard 50 for recreational water facilities as they apply to being both a biocide and an oxidizer. However, as we'll see in just a minute, it doesn't do all three of them as well as it would need to in order to be the ideal and single choice for water sanitation. Let's take a look at why that is. If we look at the usage of chlorine in a typical residential swimming pool as it applies to these three elements, the percentage of distribution might look something like the pie chart you see here, with 5% going towards maintaining a residual, for which stabilized chlorine is an excellent choice, 10% being lost to UV degradation from the sun, and 20% going towards the biocidal function of killing most, but not all, microorganisms. But the overwhelming majority, often 65% or more, of chlorine consumption goes towards the oxidation function. The oxidation requirement is by far the greatest drain on chlorine usage and is the primary reason that chlorine consumption increases so dramatically during the summer over the winter. It occurs when people are in the pool. Unfortunately, however, at normal residual levels, chlorine is not an effective oxidizer, and this is the reason we must manually shock the pool at regular intervals. Bather waste builds up over time, creates chloramines and other combined chlorine compounds that render our chlorine inactive. The water becomes hazy, it starts to smell, and becomes uncomfortable for swimmers until we can introduce enough new chlorine to create what's called break point. Once the chlorine level reaches break point, these compounds become oxidized, and the combined chlorine again becomes free. The cycle repeats itself over and over again, hence the need to shock the pool on a regular basis. So, wouldn't it stand to reason, therefore, that if we were able to eliminate this oxidation responsibility from being borne solely by the chlorine, that we would save a corresponding amount of chlorine from being consumed? A very common way that oxidation is enhanced in a swimming pool is through the use of ozone. Ozone is the second most powerful oxidizer that can be safely used in a swimming pool. It's a form of oxygen, the third most common element found in the universe. The first two are hydrogen and helium, by the way. The oxygen we breathe in the atmosphere is called diatomic oxygen, or O2, and is two elemental oxygen atoms bonded together. When diatomic oxygen is exposed to either ultraviolet radiation from the sun or electrical energy from a lightning strike, the O2 molecule splits into two separate elemental oxygen atoms, or O1. These stray O1 atoms form a weak molecular bond with surrounding O2 molecules to create O3, or ozone. This bond is weak because it lacks an electron, so this gives the ozone a very strong cationic, or positive, electrical charge. After the process of atmospheric oxygen being split by either solar or electrical energy occurs, the single oxygen atoms form a weak molecular bond with the remaining free atmospheric oxygen molecules to create ozone. The weak bond is broken as the stray oxygen atoms take electrons from various contaminants in the water. Afterward, the ozone is reduced back to the diatomic oxygen that we all breathe and is contained here in the Earth's atmosphere. This life-giving oxygen is the only remaining byproduct from the entire process. To get a sense of what this all means from a practical application standpoint, here we see just a few of the many contaminants and pathogens that ozone will oxidize. All of these contaminants are commonly found in swimming pool water, and ozone's ability to destroy them is a claim that isn't just some idle boast or marketing spin. The fact is, ozone is validated by the National Sanitation Foundation, or NSF, to exceed the NSF Standard 50 requirement for all recreational bodies of water to exceed a 99.9% population reduction of all pathogens in a single pass. This includes virulent, dangerous, and chlorine-resistant ones like Cryptosporidium parvum, Giardia, and E. coli. Additionally, ozone oxidizes organic and inorganic waste compounds that are introduced into the pool by bathers or via the environment, and it does it on contact. This includes chloramines, and this is where we see the wonderful benefit of eliminating the need to manually shock the pool under ordinary conditions. And, due to its powerful positive electrical charge, ozone pulls microparticles in pool water into ones that are large enough to be filtered out. This greatly enhances the clarity and sparkle of the water. Finally, a very significant intangible benefit that the customer will realize is a huge reduction in chlorine consumption, normally somewhere between 50 and 75% in the typical residential family pool. Now let's switch gears away from ozone and oxidation and take a look at another rapidly emerging water sanitation technology for the pool industry: germicidal UV, often referred to as UVC. UVC is part of the invisible light spectrum, produced at a wavelength between 220 and 280 nanometers. The optimal wavelength for pathogen elimination is 254 nanometers. UVC inactivates contaminants by breaking down their molecular bonds. I must emphasize the fact that, unlike ozone, UVC does not oxidize these contaminants. However, just like ozone, UVC destroys pathogens at an NSF-validated rate of greater than 99.9%, including the dangerous and chlorine-resistant ones we mentioned previously. It does so by disrupting their RNA and DNA structure and preventing them from reproducing. UVC likewise inactivates chloramines by breaking down their molecular bonds, and UVC can reduce chlorine consumption by an average of 25 to 50% in a typical pool when used as a solo complement to to an existing chlorine delivery system. While we're discussing the science of UVC, I'd like to clear up any confusion that might exist in the industry as it applies to the difference between germicidal UV and UV ozone. Note that in the chart there are 4 different tiers of ultraviolet light radiation that are divided by wavelength. As we discussed, UVC, or germicidal UV, is produced between 220 and 280 nanometers. UVA and UVB are raised between 280 and 400 nanometers and are both used extensively in the tanning bed industry. Your skin's reaction to these rays cause it to tan. However, prolonged exposure to UVA and UVB rays can lead to premature aging of the skin and is a primary cause of skin cancer. The tier below UVC, between 180 and 220 nanometers, is called UVV, and this is the wavelength range between which ozone is created from atmospheric oxygen. UVV rays are not germicidal in and of themselves, although ozone is. UVC rays are germicidal in and of themselves, but they do not produce ozone. Confused yet? Well, the point is, it's important for us to understand the difference in ultraviolet radiation as it applies to varying wavelengths and what it does at those different wavelengths. Be sure to send any additional questions you may have about this to the email address posted at the end of this video. So, what do ozone and UVC have to do with AOP, you may be asking yourself? The answer is, AOP is what occurs when a primary oxidant like ozone interacts with a catalytic agent like UVC. This exchange produces a chemical reaction that results in the formation of powerful hydroxyl radicals. The combined reaction of forming these hydroxyl radicals and the subsequent reaction that takes place between them and other compounds in the water is typically referred to as advanced oxidation process, also known as AOP. But otherwise, it would appear that AOP does everything that ozone will do all by itself. AOP is an extremely powerful oxidizer and instantly kills pathogens on contact, but so does ozone. It even kills the chlorine-resistant ones like Crypto, Giardia, and E. coli, just like ozone. AOP also instantly destroys chloramines and other combined chlorine compounds on contact, just as ozone does. AOP is also a powerful clarifier due to its extreme positive electrical polarity, but so does ozone. And again, just like ozone, AOP reduces chlorine consumption by an average of 50 to 75% in the typical pool. So, if ozone can do all these things on its own, why would we want or need AOP? Well, the truth is, there's nothing wrong with using ozone as a supplementary oxidizer in a swimming pool, just as we have for decades. Ozone is 50 times more powerful than chlorine and is 300 times more reactive, or faster, than chlorine is as well. However, and although AOP is about 35% more powerful than ozone as an oxidizer, it is way more reactive. Over 1 trillion times more reactive. That's trillion, with a T. It's this reactivity that makes AOP the ultimate choice when it comes to a supplemental oxidizer for a chlorine delivery system in a swimming pool. When AOP is used on a swimming pool in conjunction with a chlorine residual, we can truly say that we are producing the cleanest, purest, safest, sparkling blue, crystal clear water known to modern science. And we can do it faster than anything else there is. That's a pretty impressive claim to be able to make. So, when it comes to fulfilling all the requirements we would want to have in the modern swimming pool, using AOP with some type of chlorine delivery system, whether it be liquid bleach, granules, tablets, or a salt chlorinator, is the ultimate approach. AOP can do things a chlorine residual alone cannot, like destroying virtually all pathogens, including the ones that are resistant to chlorine. Additionally, AOP provides the oxidation function that normal chlorine residuals alone cannot, thereby eliminating the need to manually shock. Chlorine's role is to provide the residual margin of safety that AOP can't do on its own and will continue to sanitize the pool even when the pump isn't running. The combination of a chlorine residual with AOP does indeed complete the sanitation picture of the modern pool. You can learn more about AOP as well as all the great products proudly represented by Logan & Associates online at our website and right here at the Logan Library of Learning YouTube channel. Please subscribe to stay up to date for upcoming videos and be sure to hit the like button on your way out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time right here at the Logan Library of Learning.